there was a forum in Bulgaria in early February and a similar forum in Istanbul, both organized with support from ICE and the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And in the field of artificial intelligence, which is gaining quite a bit of attention recently, there has been an event in Tirana on 22nd, and we have some short updates and overviews of what happened at these events in the summary, so I will not go through them now. Cybercrime, Greece has ratified the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime, which was also in the quiz earlier, so it became the 52nd state ratifying this convention. And in Ukraine, a new hacker was sentenced to 41 months in a US prison over identity theft and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Basically, he was operating some botnet involving around 30,000 computers infected with malware to gain control over individuals' computers and collect data related to credit cards and e-banking. Child Safety Online. Earlier this month, as I'm sure you know, it was the Safer Internet Day celebrated on 8 February. And in the context of this celebration, several countries in the region had held some events. There have been some publications launched, and here we have only a few examples. In Croatia, there was a research showing that primary school children spend up to 5 hours a day on the internet, that most of them are accessing internet via mobile phones, and that 90% of them have Facebook accounts. And in order to assist parents in keeping their children safe online, there has been a handbook launched and a portal basically providing some kind of recommendations and guidelines on how to keep children safe as much as possible online. A similar study conducted in Bulgaria showed that kids are using the internet and digital technologies at an increasingly younger age, but that although they do have digital skills and technical skills, they are not always using this to take advantage of the opportunities offered by the internet or to keep them safe online. A couple of events happening in the region in the field of cybersecurity and cybercrime in Nicosia, Yerevan, Kiev, Belgrade, and Sarajevo. In the economic field, a new study in Romania showed that in 2016 the e-commerce market increased with some 30%, which is quite huge for the country, and the data that was published was only related to tangible goods, not buying a plane ticket or making a reservation for a holiday. In Croatia, the country's first business-to-business e-platform for agricultural product has been launched, and this is basically aimed to assist agricultural startups in the country to access foreign markets. In Serbia, fees related to the processing and publication of electronic financial statements can be paid online via credit card. Apparently, this is a new development because up to now, such fees could only be paid via e-banking, and this has been having some troubles. In Albania, Giraffa Lab, a startup incubator for internet entrepreneurs, has been launched, and it is mainly dedicated at entrepreneurs from Kosovo, Albania, and Macedonia. Development in Serbia, the government has decided to introduce computer science and ICT as a compulsory subject for 5th grade students starting the next school year, and this is basically aimed to help children develop their algorithmic thinking based on whatever abilities they have by the 5th grade. In Bulgaria, there was a decision by a court to oblige the government to introduce voting machines in every polling station for the March elections. The government said that, well, they need to comply with the court order, so they will introduce voting machines, but the Electoral Commission raised some concerns, saying that this might be a bit problematic given the short time frame left and the fact that not all users will be trained to use these electronic voting machines. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Sarajevo Public Library purchased e-book reader Kindle. Development few events in Crete, Belgrade, and Sofia. Human rights and content policy. In Romania, as I'm sure you all know by now, there have been quite intensive and huge protests in the country in early February, well, up to middle February. And in the context of this protest, the Minister of Internal Affairs had a very inspired decision to publish a list of journalists and politicians that have allegedly promoted the protest via social media. And of course, human rights activists and the media itself reacted, saying that this is a bit of attempt to downplay the rights to freedom of expression. In Ukraine, and this is the country in the quiz earlier, the government has asked Facebook to develop a verification mechanism for unreliable news, as it says that such fake news are actually a risk to freedom of expression and democracy in the country. And in Moldova, policymakers are discussing changes to a draft Big Brother law that has been discussed in the parliament since April 2016. Apparently, the initial draft of the law has raised some concerns in terms of human rights, surveillance, and other activities performed by secret services in the country. In terms of events, there was an event organized by the OSCE in Chisinau, Youth and Prevention and Violent Extremism, a workshop on perspectives from the Black Sea region. And a list of upcoming events, I will not go through them, you can see them on the screen, and they are also in the monthly summaries. And this wraps up the overview of what happened in our region in February. We might have missed some developments or some events, and this is why I will reiterate our kind request to you all to please help us get a hold of what's happening in the region and include those developments in the next month's summary. I'm not sure if there are questions or other comments, but I will stop here with the overview of developments. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. Great overview. There were a couple of interesting updates that we commented in the chat. Well, different people found different updates interesting. I personally will have a comment later on one of those, but in the meantime, I wanted to invite everyone, if we missed something, to either add to the chat now or simply ask for the floor, and then we can add. And I'll misuse the opportunity to add one event that I spotted in the news, which was, I don't know if we have anyone from Montenegro, that they reported that they had a series of cyber attacks somewhere in mid-February, mid-February, I think. Series of cyber attacks against various online services, including media and I think e-government services and so on, and they're trying to locate the perpetrators. They did not comment whether nation state is behind or whatever, as they did previously before the elections, when they kind of attributed some of the attacks to Russia. The other one that I know, but I don't know if Arvin is available to put up a brief comment. There was there were two events in Belgrade about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and they were quite interesting. I don't know, Arvin, if you can take a mic quickly. Switch it on.
Can you hear me? I guess you can. Yeah. Yes, we had an interesting two events in Belgrade regarding the regulations around the cryptocurrencies and virtual currencies, and altogether in the South European area. And one conclusion from all those meetings with national banking institutions and people from national finance institution is that the region of Southeastern Europe will actually follow the lead of European Union on this, especially on the Central European Bank, and it will actually implement the regulative on e-money from the Central European EU Bank. So no, basically we were told by the national banking authorities that there is not going to be any moving forward new regulation or any kind of legislation regarding to crypto and digital virtual currencies. Basically, the whole region will follow the European Union path on this. In short.
Good. Thanks, Arvin. Anyone that wants to add any updates that we might have missed? or possibly the events that are coming in the next period that we should all be alerted? Michael? Switch on.
Thank you. This is Michael Ogia. There's going to be a peering forum in Ljubljana in March. I want to say between March 22nd and 23rd.
And it's about?
I think it's a peering forum, so I think it's going to be focusing on technical issues, specifically in Slovenia, but I think it's also open to others, for anybody else interested in, especially Southeastern European issues. And I think there's going to be a specific focus on Internet Exchange Points, IXPs.
Good. Okay, anyone else also here that want to announce anything that's coming or that happened? That's it? Okay, Dusan, you've been traveling a lot. You could report on some of those events. Okay, any comments on the current news? I had one. Well, we commented in the chat, but I had one which is kind of a personal reflection on the. I think it was Armenian kind of a debate on telecoms that are complaining against the over-the-top services like content providers and services provider causing them losses. I participated in a conference on internet governance in Algeria 2 weeks ago, where the same discussion was one of the panels titled "Profitability of the Internet," where the main question was actually how do the different internet industries kind of divide the revenues, where the telecoms, which are especially in that part of the world, including in Southeastern Europe still to some extent, rather owned by the government, and the government and the telecoms feel that they have a loss because they do not get more revenues, they do not earn any more money, but the OTTs, which are usually in the other countries, actually get bigger parts of the cake. And one of the, I wouldn't say conclusions, but one of the ideas to think about, and I'm just provoking our region to start thinking about it, maybe the CIDIC can be also a place where we can discuss more, is to look at how we could boost in the region the OTTs and actually bring more revenues into the region through the OTTs. The convergence of the telecoms and OTTs is visible on the global level as well, where we have Facebook and Google laying down the optical fibers, where we have AT&T acquiring Warner and so on. So that's one option to think about. And the other one is to think about the profitability of the data, because the data is something that is becoming is currently the main currency online, and that's something where the revenue can come from. And rather than thinking about how we should protect telecoms, we should think about how to innovate telecoms and their business models and go into that. So that's just my personal reflection on this topic, which I think is rather important. And I'll stop there. Anyone else want to comment on that or anything else that Serena presented over there? If not, I'll just briefly announce the next meeting that we'll have, the same one like we had today, the last Tuesday of the month again, which is 28th of month. Inviting you to contribute with the news and updates in the meantime, so just contact any one of us or CIDIG secretary directly with any kind of news from your country, updates or announces of the forthcoming events. And join us for the preparations of the CIDIG. Now we have the main topics when it comes to the CIDIG meeting in Ohrid in the end of May. Maybe Serena, if you want to add a quick reflection on where we are when it comes to the CIDIG developments.
Thank you, Vlada. Yes, I will do just a quick overview of where we are. As you have mentioned, we have a program outline published, and I will share the link later in the chat. We know the main topics that are going to be discussed at CIDIG, and now organizing teams are basically building those sessions, and the organizing teams are open to anyone interested. So if anyone in this room would like to contribute to either of the sessions, you are welcome. But in brief, what are the topics? The meeting will spread over 2 days. We will be meeting on both 24th and 25th of May in Ohrid again. And we will have the usual introduction to internet governance in the afternoon of 24 May. Then there will be a discussion on access, digital divide, and telecom market regulation. And maybe this will be the place to discuss about what Vlada has just mentioned about OTT services. Then on the actual day of CD, we will start with the discussion on online human rights, new challenges, and the issue of fake news. We will continue with the Internet of Things and what kind of opportunities it will bring into the region. We will have a short slot on open data and initiatives across the region. Then there will be a cybersecurity session and a session on internationalized domain names. So these are the topics that will be discussed at CDIG. There will also be on the morning of 24th May a youth school. We have just launched it, I think yesterday. So I'm not sure if we have students in the room, but if you know students around the region, they are welcome to apply. Again, I will share the link in the chat a bit later. The deadline for applications is 19 March, and at the same time, we have also launched a fellowship program. People who are interested in attending the meeting and learning a bit more about internet governance, digital policy, what happens in the region and globally, we can support some of them and include them into this program, which will be a bit more than just attending the meeting and listening to others. Thank you, Liana, for sharing the links. Deadline for the fellowship program is also on 19 March, and these two initiatives have been possible due to support from our supporting organizations, in these specific instances, ICANN and Internet Society. So we are looking forward to seeing as many as possible among you at the meeting in Ohrid, and meanwhile you know how to reach us, or we hope you know how to reach us and to contribute to what we are trying to do. If there are any questions, I am happy to answer. If not, thank you once again.
Thanks, Serena, and thanks for reminding of the call for the young or youth school before that. I think this is a wonderful opportunity, so it would be good if all of us also spread the buzz around it and try to get more young people to apply. Okay, if no other comments, Dusan, anything for the closing part? Okay, excellent, thank you. In the meantime, send us the updates from your countries, send us the announcements of the developments and events that are coming, and see you back on 28th of March. Thank you, Serena, thank you all. Ciao.